Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Kipper Hess from the Nebraska National Guard, and I'm the 2016 Airshow Director for the Guardians of Freedom Airshow. This will be held on May 7th and 8th of 2016 in 4 short months. I'll be your host today for the press conference, and before we get started, I'd like to introduce our honored guests. First, the Honorable Pete Ricketts, Governor of Nebraska. Ms. Wendy Birdsall, President of the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce. Brigadier General Richard Dahlman, Nebraska National Guard Deputy Adjutant General. And Mr. David Herring, Executive Director, Lincoln Airport Authority. He is in the back. Lieutenant Tyler Davies, Blue Angels narrator, and Captain Corey Mays, Blue Angels events coordinator. The sequence for today's conference will include some brief opening comments by me, and then I'll introduce Governor Ricketts, Ms. Birdsall, Brigadier General Dahlman, and then the Blue Angels team for their prepared remarks. Once those are completed, I'll open up the floor for your questions. So about a year ago, in December 14, we were very pleased and excited to have been chosen by the Blue Angels to host them for our May 2016 Air Show. Since that time, we have partnered with the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce and the Lincoln Airport Authority, and collectively we have been working hard to put together what we believe will be an outstanding open house and air show. Today, we are pleased to host Lieutenant Davies and Captain Mays of the U.S. Blue Angels for their preliminary planning session, which will culminate in the full team's arrival in May of 2016 for our open house and air show. This is also serving to officially kick off the 2016 Guardians of Freedom Air Show and Open House. So right now I would like to introduce the Honorable Pete Ricketts, Governor of Nebraska, to offer his perspective on this special event. Mr. Governor.
Well, thank you very much, Lieutenant Colonel. I appreciate it. And thank you all for coming here today. I can't be more excited to be here for the kickoff of the Guardians of Freedom Open House and to talk about the wonderful events that we're going to have coming up here later this spring and to welcome the Blue Angels. It is very exciting to see the Nebraska National Guard work with the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce to really develop this great air show. It's really an example of how the government sector and the private sector can work together to really put it on something of great significance for the people of Nebraska, and really represents the best spirit of how we work together here in Nebraska to create such great events. It's also very, very fun for me to be able to welcome Lieutenant Tyler Davies and Captain Corey Mays to Nebraska. They've not been to Nebraska before, so we'll have the opportunity to be able to show them the hospitality that we have here in Nebraska, but also welcome the legendary Blue Angels group to come to Nebraska to be able to be a part of the air show. I have had the opportunity to watch air operations from the deck of the USS Stennis, one of our carriers, and I can tell you that our naval aviators are just unbelievable. And that's really what this air show will give us the opportunity to show off, is really what a great job our men and women in uniform do, how we have the best of the best in the Blue Angels here to demonstrate their capabilities. But really, even more importantly, the people of Nebraska, when they come later this spring to the air show and to the open house, will have the opportunity to meet and talk with our men and women in uniform. Find out who they are, why they do what they do, and really understand what a great job they're doing for our country and what great people they are to put on that uniform and protect our freedoms. It really is a great opportunity for Nebraskans and people from the surrounding states to come and see what our military is all about. So I'm really proud that we can have this opportunity to really show off the great work that our men and women in uniform do. As Commander-in-Chief of the Nebraska National Guard, I'm very proud of all of our men and women here in the Guard in Nebraska. And as an American, I'm very proud of all of our men and women who put on that uniform to protect our freedoms. As we know, our freedom doesn't come free. It comes because people like Captain Mays and Lieutenant Davis put on that uniform to protect it. And This is an opportunity for us to be able to see their capabilities, to say thank you to them for all the great work they're doing, and really show off all the great stuff we have going here in Nebraska. So I couldn't be more excited to be here today. I'm very excited about the work the Chamber and the Nebraska National Guard are going to do here together to really put on this wonderful air show. It's always great to have the Blue Angels back in Nebraska. And being a bit of an aviation buff, I'm excited to see another great performance by the Blue Angels. So with that, Lieutenant Colonel, I will turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Ricketts. At this time, I'd like to introduce Miss Wendy Birdsall, the president of the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce.
What a really exciting and fun time to be in Lincoln, Nebraska. There are so many wonderful things going on in our community, and it's so incredible to be able to top off, or to begin actually in May, the 2016 year with an event like this. As the president of the Chamber of Commerce, it is just a incredible pleasure and honor to be able to be part of this and to help bring this to fruition. There will be over 700 air shows globally in 2016, and we are so humbled and honored that Lincoln will be able to host the Guardians of Freedom Air Show, as the former speaker had mentioned, on May 7th and 8th. The last show that we had here was in 2011, and we drew more than 250,000 people here to Lincoln, Nebraska, to watch those visitors, to watch that show over the course of those 2 days. We drew a approximate $5 million revenue off that show for the local economy, which is an incredible economic boost to our community. We also, during that time, after the show, this partnership with the National Guard and the Chamber of Commerce, we were awarded a very coveted award, the Dick Schramm Memorial Community Relations Award, for the hosting of this event from the International Convention on Air Shows. That's a tremendous honor, and I attribute that to the partnership and the work that both parties did that came together to put on such an incredible show. We are also so excited to have the Navy's top act in the nation, which is the U.S. Navy's Flight Demonstration Squadron, the Blue Angels. Come on, that's exciting. And we're very excited to host them here in Lincoln and introduce them to our community. You know, air shows not only entertain and inspire us, but they also enable us to showcase the Army National Guard and the Air National Guard and all the things that they do for our community. And it's an important time to take advantage of this and thank them for the service to our community and to our country. The partnership dates back to 2001 in putting these air shows together, and our business community again has come forward to help with overwhelming support to make this happen. So once again, we are so excited from the standpoint of the Chamber of Commerce to have this show in our community, and we're very thankful for the partnership with the National Guard. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Birdsall. At this time, I'd like to introduce Brigadier General Richard Dahlman, Deputy Adjutant General of the Nebraska National Guard.
Thank you, and thank you, Governor, Ms. Birdsall, and thank you for coming here today. As Governor Ricketts and Ms. Birdsall had said, this is an exciting day for us to officially kick off the 2016 Guardians of Freedom Open House and Air Show coming up 7-8 May on the west side of the Lincoln Airport here. There's already been a lot of work done, as we mentioned, and we're really excited to cooperate with the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce, Lincoln Airport Authority, and a lot of other partners to bring what we believe will be the best air show in the Midwest this year. As many of you remember, we've hosted similar air shows here, particularly in 2006 and 2011, where the Blue Angels headlined, as they will again this year. Each of those were a huge success for us, and they attracted crowds, as we'd mentioned earlier here. We do believe this year will be even more exciting, if not the largest event here now in Lincoln. The purpose of the Guardians of Freedom Air Show is really to educate the public about what we do here in the Nebraska National Guard, as well as the United States military on a daily basis. As we said earlier, we have some amazing capabilities. with military vehicles and aircraft that we're going to headline here on those days that we utilize in support of our federal and state missions. We also have some even more amazing soldiers and airmen who are extremely well trained and dedicated to protecting their communities, their state, their nation when duty calls. This is an opportunity for us to not only show who we are, but to also express a thank you. Thank you to all of Nebraska for supporting us when we needed you over the past several decades when we deployed around the country and around the state when duty called. Thank you for supporting us and our families all the way. Again, thank you all for coming today. Welcome to the Blue Angel representatives today. Good luck as you continue to finish up your work here in Lincoln to plan for our event, and we look forward to seeing you and the rest of your team in May. Thank you.
Thank you, General Bauman. And now I'd like to introduce our special guests, Blue Angels narrator Lieutenant Tyler Davies and Blue Angels events coordinator Captain Corey Mays.
Good morning, folks. Thank you so much for coming out. We very much appreciate you being here to help us talk about the upcoming show next May. We're very excited to come back. So a lot of people wonder, what are we doing here so early? It's January and the show isn't until May. Well, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. There's a fantastic team here in Lincoln who worked very hard to put the show on last time we were here 5 years ago in 2011. And we're fortunate enough to be working with many of the same people here, and we look forward to it. So we put our schedule out 2 years in advance, and I know that they've been hard at work starting the planning for that since it was announced that we'd be coming back here this year. And so what we're doing here today is to establish the face-to-face relationships with the entire Airshow community and many of the team who's here to put the show on in May. And so by establishing these relationships, it really helps us to plan forward, because we're not going to have an opportunity to come back here until the weekend of the show when Tyler arrives on that Tuesday. And so in the meantime, we'll be working over phone, over email, with all of the planning steps to make sure all the timelines are met. There's a lot of work to be done. And so what we'll be doing is making sure that the plan that they have in place is solid, it's safe, and we know that it will be. Everything ran so smoothly last time, and it was such a success. They talked about the record numbers that they had here last time, and we're hoping that in this year, in 2016, we'll have even better numbers as far as the turnout goes. So we're going to be getting eyes on the hotel, the gym, all of the facilities here on base. We'll be using the maintenance facilities, the briefing rooms. Take a look at the airspace, talk about air traffic deconfliction. There is a lot to be done, and that's just really skimming the wave tops there. So thanks again very much for coming out. We're super excited, and Tyler is going to explain to you a little bit about what you can expect come show weekend, May 7th and 8th.
Good morning, everyone. Like Corey said, we're super excited for the 2016 season. It's our 70th anniversary next year, so 70 years of the U.S. Navy team with the Flight Demonstration Squadron of putting on airshow demonstrations. So we're super excited to be here in Nebraska. It's awesome to be back. Just like what Corey said, we're here so early to do all that stuff. And some of the things that you'll see when come May timeframe for the flight demonstration is there'll be just a wonderful display of how the military character and military bearing of how our flight demonstration squadron walks out to the aircraft, how the interaction between officers and enlisted personnel with the Navy and Marine Corps team, displaying the pride and professionalism amongst our United States Navy and Marine Corps team. As the team gets airborne, some of the things that you'll see is a series of diamond formation, pilots 1 through 4. There's also a series of pilots 5 and 6 doing some solo demonstrations, so demonstrating the maximum performance capability of the F-18 that you see behind us as well. Once you see those series of demonstrations, some other things that you will see is pilots 1 through 6 will get together, what we like to call the Delta formation, and then showing the graceful flight capabilities of the aircraft once you put 6 aircraft flying together. Another thing that you will also see is the United States Marine Corps C-130 Fat Albert. Awesome, awesome, awesome display of showing how the United States Marine Corps puts that airplane in the air and then max performs that aircraft. So once again, we are super excited to be here. Thank you so much for having us, and we're looking forward to a wonderful air show in May. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lieutenant Davies and Captain Mays. At this time, I'd like to open the floor to your questions.
How does one become a Blue Angel? What's involved with that? How much work and so on? And being a woman, too, I think it puts a spotlight on you as well.
Great. So the question was, how do you become a Blue Angel? Well, it all starts a long, long time ago. We have been serving for many, many years. And in fact, the entire team at the Blue Angels is not just those of us wearing the blue flight suit. There's 130 of us that serve. Most of those are enlisted maintainers downstairs. We come from the fleet and we go back to the fleet. And that's something that we're very proud of, to be able to represent our brothers and sisters who are out there doing very good work right now all around the world. And so we don't necessarily join the military aiming to be here. Some of us do, but not all of us. It's just a lot of hard work, a lot of training, and a lot of it's about timing as well. We need to make sure it fits into our career path. We're only on this team for 2 or 3 years at a time, depending on your position on the team. So if the position is open and it works with our career path, then we'll go ahead and put the application package in. And that process in and of itself for the officers is about a 7-month process from start to finish. So it's quite long. There's a lot that it's entailed as far as, is this the kind of, work that you'd like to do? It's a great honor to be on this team, but it's a lot of work as well. We're away from home 300 days out of the year, so that's a very large commitment, especially for those of us who have families. And so once we consider whether or not it'll work with our career, whether it's something that we want, then we have to be selected by the team. So that's usually what happens towards the very end, is once we have a larger group of applicants, then it'll be narrowed down to a smaller group, and then the interview process gets much more formalized from there before the final selections are made.
A lot of people would be applying for that position, right? It's a large field.
Yes, ma'am. There's usually about, for the pilots, there's usually about 45 applicants for maybe 2 spots. So it depends year to year, but it's definitely very competitive. Yes, ma'am.
Are you the first one to be a Blue Angel? I'm not clear.
I believe the question was, am I the first woman to be Blue Angel? No, I'm not. Actually, we've had women on the team now since the 60s, but they've been upstairs and downstairs meeting officers and enlisted, so we've been serving on the team for quite some time. We've had female officers on the team for quite some time, so no, I'm not the first. Yeah.
First woman pilot?
Actually, no, I'm not even a pilot. I'm a weapons system officer. As the events coordinator, Blue Angel number 8, I'm also the squadron naval flight officer. So we do have a pilot flying the C-130 this year. Her name is Captain Katie Higgins. It'll be her 2nd year on the team, and she is in fact the first female to fly in the demonstration. So, thank you, folks.
Lieutenant Davis, can you tell us a little about being a Blue Angel and what it meant for you and what you want to do?
Yeah, so I had a unique career path. I was prior enlisted, started out directly after high school. I joined the Navy, and ultimate goal was to be able to fly something in the Navy. I didn't have any prior flight time or flight experience or anything like that, but I did about just under 8 years enlisted, and then worked on my degree after work every day with the ultimate goal of every childhood dream, being able to join the team of the U.S. Navy Blue Angels. So I put in an officer package, got picked up for an officer program, and then just step by step, just kind of made the decision that, okay, I've made it this far, let me see how far I can get. And then just as Captain Corey Mace had said, I had put in an application to apply for the Blue Angels, and it is very, very demanding, and it's an absolute honor to be a part of this team and be selected to the team. So what we're looking for this year is, we're changing our mission statement just a little bit, and we want to be able to inspire. So whatever people say, whatever dreams they want, whatever they want to shoot for in life, is set a goal and just shoot for that. So look at a star, put yourself in a rocket launcher, and just shoot at the star and be along for the ride.
Practice all the time?
It is practice all the time. So yeah, so we're on the road right now as number 7 and number 8 for the team, but our squadron is actually in O Central right now and practicing in the desert 2 to 3 flights a day, 6 days a week.
I had a question about the aircraft.
Yeah.
Blue Angel's been flying the F/A-18 for a long time. Are there any plans to upgrade once you get the F-35s into the fleet?
Not at this time with the F-35. We're looking at options out there, and obviously we're always looking to improve the airframe. Right now there's talks of potentially in the future, but definitely nothing definite at this time.
I have a question.
Yes.
I think you said earlier this only lasts maybe about 2 or 3 years out of rotation. Why is that rotation so quick? You have to work so hard to get there.
Because it is, once again, we're just representatives of the fleet. So if you continue to see the same faces, then it's not really showcasing that pride and profession of what is currently out there serving right now on the front lines. So just a very quick snapshot of what your U.S. military, Navy, and Marine Corps team is, just representatives of the fleet. And then we go back to the fleet. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I was wondering, obviously Blue Angels are the headline act. Do you have any word yet on what other acts or types of acts will be performing here, and will there be National Guard?
Right. We obviously, if we are deploying, the Air National Guard is deploying February through May. A lot of our airplanes will be gone. If we have sufficient resources, we'll be flying as well. As far as what other type of acts we're targeting other military and other civilian acts. And right now that is all in the planning stage, but I will tell you that there's military and civilian acts and some ground acts that we're pursuing. Yes?
Is there a date that tickets go on sale, or how does this work?
Well, that is the great thing. This is a free event for the community. So free parking, free entry into the gate. So it is a free event, and so there is no tickets to purchase.
What sort of work do you need to do to prepare the grounds and prepare the facilities for the event?
Quite extensive. Big picture, we have to put up a fence line, we have to put up multiple tents, you have to prepare the ramp for aircraft entering, sitting static display, and you have to prepare the airport in general for demonstration teams of various complexity to perform here. And that includes airspace with the FAA, to include the ground with the Lincoln Airport Authority. And they do the lion's share of that work with us.
And I have a question for Lieutenant Davies. So we're going to be seeing the Thunderbirds up the road at Offutt in the summer, the Air Force team. Who's better?
I think we have to go for the family honor.
And it's okay. It's okay. You can be better.
The Blue Angels. Thank you for your time.
Now, okay, so because I'm governor, I get to do this. I'm going to take a little point of privilege. As I mentioned earlier, I had the opportunity to see some air operations from the deck of the USS Stennis in San Diego, and they were actually night operations. And so it was pilots flying the Hornets, trying to land at night on the deck of this carrier. And I'm looking off the stern, the back of the stern, and I see this light. It's going up and down. And I'm like, what is that light? That is crazy that there's this light going back up and down. So I look at it more closely. That light was a star. The star wasn't moving. It was the ship. That the back of the ship going up and down that was giving that impression of the star going up and down. And that's what these pilots were trying to land in the dark, on this deck of this carrier that was moving up and down. This is a big ship, and it's moving up and down like that. They're trying to land on that at night, trying to catch their arrestor hook on 3 wires that are stretched across that deck to be able to stop them. It was incredibly impressive. The physical and mental preparation you have to do, the training, the skill, the teamwork. What these naval aviators represent are really the best of the best. It is incredibly impressive, and that's what you're going to get a chance to see with the Blue Angels demonstration, is when they fly in formation, really demonstrating that skill that shows how they're the best of the best.
All right, I'm going to take that as there are no more questions. All right, well, this concludes our press conference. We'll continue to provide you media updates on the open house and air show planning, and thank you all for attending today, and again, thank you to our special guests.
Oh, my pleasure. Nice to meet you.